Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Leah, and if you're joining me today, I'm going to talk about starting my garden plan for the year of 2022. Today is February 8th, and I think we've got a high of 2 degrees Celsius today, which is pretty cold, but much better than it has been the last little while. So here's looking forward to spring. I've sorted out quite a few varieties around me that I had to go through and decide what I wanted to plant this year for various reasons. And I have started doing my garden layout. I've got a couple separate beds, one major bed, or my main bed in the front yard there. I'm working on just under ½ acre, and so I've got a bed up front. I've got use of the backyard portion of the backyard in the neighbor's lots, and I've got 3 smaller gardens, which I have previously kept for mostly flowers, but I think this year we might be doing some lettuce in one and some tea variety flowers and herbs in another one. So thanks for joining me today. So far on my plan, I have, you see this? This is my main garden up front. It is almost completely surrounded just with some fencing. I'm not sure what it's called. It was just like a roll of wire fencing. But I've got a walkway down the center so that I can reach everything on either side. And I've got 2 tall, not arbors, but kind of climbing trellises. They're just a little bit taller than I am. So I want to say they're probably 6 foot, 6'2" once they're in the ground, maybe. They're a little bit taller than I am. And I'm hoping to keep a section on either side, more as my herb garden areas. I've got a couple different varieties of dill, and because they're taller, I figured I'd keep them near the climbing or the trellises. Not that the dill climbs, but near the trellises, so in case I have to support them, I've got something to support them too. Let's start with, this is my south facing side of the garden, and the sun comes up on this side and comes around and goes down over here. So this is my sunniest section. I've got a really nice plot of chives already there in this area here, so we're gonna go with that without moving things around. So I'm gonna put the oregano that I've got from another garden here. It's doing pretty well, so hopefully that it transplants nicely. Got the dill here and here. I have 2 different varieties. One is an early variety, Ducat, if I'm not brutally murdering that variety name. It's the earlier one, it's 45 days, and the fern leaf dill is a 70-day maturing. So I'm gonna put the later maturing one over here, away from the sun, so that the things behind it aren't shaded out, so that they can get some sun to get that good start this spring. Over on this side, I've got the early dill. I have a lemon balm, which I actually started in a little container last fall, and it's doing fantastically. I love the smell of lemon balm. It's beautiful. So lovely. So I've got that here. And I've got some thyme over here, which I will have to start from seed as well. My lovely neighbor, Kathy, thank you. She gave me this beautiful, I think it's purple lupin last year after it had bloomed and did its thing. So we overwintered it, covered it up in the leaves, and it should come back this year, and I'm really excited to see it. So on our south side of the garden, I've got, so far, I'm going to be doing my tomatoes in this area. Tomatoes like sunshine, and we're a big tomato family. We do a lot of things like pizzas and pastas, barbecue sauces, ketchup. I haven't done ketchup yet. I'm gonna do it this year. Cross your fingers. I'm hoping it's good. And I decided to put my peppers in this section as well. I will go through a couple varieties with you on the later end of this video pretty quickly, because everybody chooses their own varieties and I'm still in the middle of deciding what I do and don't like. So what else? Oh, before I get too far along, because I have the fencing here already, the fencing, I'm going to do peas on this end, so that way, because peas like cooler temperatures, I'm going to start them early and they're going to get morning sun and not the hot afternoon sun. Hopefully that's the idea. We'll see how it works. And I heard that, read somewhere, that carrots are really good companion plants for peas, and it does make sense to me because carrots are a low crop, peas are a climbing crop. So yeah, so I'm going to plant those together. I'm going to have to amend the soil in that area a little bit because there's a lot of pebbles in my soil, so I'll have to lighten that up and just run the rake through it so my carrots end up straight-ish instead of not. So that's my start so far. I was thinking of doing some succession planting of lettuces so that I could eat them as baby greens instead of waiting for them to head, like to get that beautiful, like full mature roundness to them. You eat them small, and you can do them as cut and come again. So essentially you wait for them to be just little plants and you give them a snip about an inch above the soil line, and they will continue growing for you. So I'm going to either put them in this garden, my main garden, along either edge of the walkway, or I thought that they might do decently in a garden bed that I've got up close to my house, kind of by my porch. It doesn't get any afternoon sun, and it's cooler up in that area, but a lot of my flowers don't do amazingly in that section because they don't have a lot of sun. Verdict is out on that. Let me know your thoughts. So that's everything that I've got on my plans so far. I will be adding to it as I go, but I've just sorted out my varieties here. What I have out in the garden at the moment, I planted in the fall some garlic. Just picked this variety package up. It's the Mackenzie variety package, 4 different varieties. I'm probably going to murder these names as well. The Dungaski, German Red, Mennonite, and Music garlic. Just like that. So all I did in the fall was I just broke them apart, left on the little paper skins, and I planted them with their pointy bit upward, just a bit below the surface. It's got some general directions on the back there. Mackenzie's usually pretty decent for giving me some directions. And they've done really, really well so far. I've got them in the backyard garden over at the neighbor's, and so far they're doing good. Right now they're covered by like 1.5 feet of snow, so who knows what's going on, but I'm looking forward to that. It's my first time planting garlic. I do have some onions that I was thinking to put over there as well. These are seeds, onion seeds, so if you want something to start planting now, your seed starting stuff, onion seeds are really good to start early, because once they are once they are starts, the baby onions, you can plant them out at that point and they will bulb up for you. Or you can purchase them as starts, and I do have some of those actually in a brown paper bag in my fridge at the moment. I checked them yesterday. Nobody's sprouting. Everybody's still healthy and not all wrinkly and dead, so everything's good so far. But those are a good option if you have that need to start something right now. Pansies are another one that are really good to start early. Purple coneflower, they take a while. I think brassicas you can start pretty soon as well. Brassicas being broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, that kind of thing. They are a colder weather crop, so spring, fall, they don't do so good in the heat of the summer. What else? For the herb garden that I plan to put up there, I've got a couple different varieties of dill. I mentioned that. I also have basil, thyme, oregano. Got the chives up there. They did wonderfully. I have a mint bush that I've got already established in one of my other gardens, and I'm going to leave it there. It's not overly sunny in that area, but it's doing really well, surprisingly, and it has a section there that it can totally take over if it wishes to, so I think I'm just going to leave it there. The plan is to actually add a little water feature over there as well, so it can fill in and make things pretty and smell nice. I'm good with that. I do have a couple other things that I've started. I did start a second mint because at the beginning of last year I killed the one that I had growing. How do you kill mint? I know, don't ask. I don't know, it just happened. So I actually just went over to the Sharps here in town, and I picked up a little container, but I wasn't sure what kind it was, just garden mint. All it said was mint. So I planted some out from seeds just in case I liked this variety better, but I planted it in the fall as well, or alongside the lemon balm that I had there. So I've got this, and it's been growing in the house since then. Might just be a house plant from now on, never know. Some other things that I'm growing a ton of tomatoes. We're a heavy tomato household. I've got a couple different varieties of larger sized tomatoes, the slicers, the beef steak tomatoes, if you will. I've got both the bush variety, so the determinate size and the indeterminate size. The difference being determinate size ones only get to a certain size, determined size, and the indeterminate ones, they can still keep growing and producing, and you can end up with like 9-foot tomato bush, similar to what I had last year. That being said, those really need to be supported well, really well. Sorry. What I'm also going to be planting, I'm going to be planting some of the Bonnie Best. They are a little bit smaller of a tomato. They don't have very many seeds, but they're really good producers. And they're probably about half the size of a beefsteak, about like 5 ounce, but they're still good for slicing. They're really juicy. A new one that I got this year that I got strictly by recommendation for flavor was the brandy wine, and it's really fleshy, meaty type tomato. Good for tomato sandwiches, I think. And I've got some paste tomato options as well. The Roma, San Marzano. I don't know if I'm going to be doing the little cherry style or size tomatoes this year. We did a lot of them last year. We did Bumblebee and Sweetie last year. I liked them. They produced fabulously, but they never really like impressed me by flavor. So I'm hoping that maybe during like one of the seed swaps that we've got going or coming up here, I'll find another variety that I want to try for the small size tomatoes. I plan on planting the tomatoes on the south facing side of my main garden. So this side here where my sun comes up. These tomatoes like sun. Yep. I'm also going to be putting my peppers here as well because my peppers are not going to be as tall as some of my tomatoes, and I don't want to shade them out from getting enough sun. So my morning sun comes up here, my afternoon sun goes down there. If I've got my peas climbing up my fence, it's going to have some more shade, and so the taller tomatoes can be over here because they're still going to be able to reach and see the sun if the shorter ones, the determinate ones, are on this side as the sun passes over, because the sun's going to be stronger in the afternoon, right? And I'm going to have my peppers here because these guys in the herb bed are not overly tall, so they're not. I'm trying to think about all of the things. It's not always my strong suit, but I'm trying. Try. Let me know if you have any tips, or if you're like looking at my paper here and going, it's probably not what you want to do, Leah. Let me know. Let me know. But for peppers, I'm just gonna do some bell peppers, some red and green bell peppers. I think that one's Cow Wonder. I did cayenne peppers last year. I found that they didn't have any flavor. It was just like straight heat. I have a horribly funny, I don't think hilaric is a word, hilarious, there we go, story about how I found that out, but I'll save that for another video, I think. Don't want this video to be all that long. I am planning on interplanting a bunch of flowers in with my garden, my vegetables, my fruits, not just for pollination, but because they're wonderful. I love just to go and take my little folding chair and sit my butt in the middle of the garden with a cup of tea in the morning and just talk to the plants, touch all the plants. My cousin thinks I'm really strange because I go directly into the garden and I touch the plants. This is lemon balm. I love just like swooshing my hand over the herbs and the sage. Oh God, the lavender. And everything just wakes up in the morning. It's fabulous. It might just be me. Might be a strange thing that I do. Maybe not. I think maybe a couple of you do that too. But one of the flowers that I plan to incorporate in the garden this year, I haven't done it before, but it's actually very nostalgic to me because my great grandmother and my grandmother, both who have passed now, it's their very favorite one, and it's nasturtium. And I found this gorgeous, gorgeous red color. Oh my god. And nasturtiums are edible. I'm not sure if you knew that, but they're edible. They're like peppery, so you toss them into your salad to make it pretty. And if you've ever had a radish, obviously not the texture because radishes are crunchy, but that peppery flavor, that's very similar. I used to always have sunflowers in with my vegetable garden. I'm not going to do that this year. I have a dedicated sunflower garden because I was reading, doing some more research, trying to be the good steward of the garden. We're still working on it. And apparently sunflowers attract a couple of things like ants and whatnot. And ants aren't horrible to have in your garden, but in my garden, a couple of years ago, we had a problem with fire ants. And I really just don't want to get into that again because we did handle them in a decent way. So I'm going to just leave my sunflowers in the sunflower garden and focus on veggies generally in the other garden. I picked up a couple different varieties this year to go along with the seeds that I've saved. I do both the single stem sunflowers and the hedge or bush variety. They have multiple blooms on them. This year I am going to incorporate the Autumn Beauty and the Velvet Queen. I know. Those are gorgeous. I know. So, I did the mammoth sunflowers a couple years ago. I got a couple free packages in with my seed order. I'm not going to do them again because it's so much anticipation I found, and then they get really tall and awesome, and then they finally open. But as soon as they open, they do this, and they drop their head like this, and then they're not beautiful anymore. Why? Don't do that. So yeah, I'm not gonna plant those anymore. So those will be available to a seed swapper. I do marigolds in my garden, lots of them. You have to make sure that they're the scented marigolds. So if you're looking for them to be a deterrent to certain things, white fly, I think it's white marigolds that deter rabbits and stuff to a certain degree. And so far I've only done the Cracker Jack marigolds, and they are something. They get like 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot. They're huge and gorgeous, but they take longer to bloom. So I think I'm going to maybe stick with some of the shorter ones this year. I'm definitely going to have the Cracker Jack ones as just ornamental flowers in one of my gardens near my seating area, almost as a natural fence, something like that. Anyway, I did a whole bunch of different flowers last year, and the one that I'm really excited about to add maybe into the herb garden section. Ooh, okay. Right here. Upside down. Right here. So I've got an empty section here. I've got the oregano here, and I do know that it is kind of prolific and it takes over a bit, but like maybe I can manage it. Maybe that's hopeful thinking. We'll see. My chives are up here. They're doing great. They're staying in their general area. So I've got a space here for chamomile. What do we think? Yeah, me too. I think so. So that's what we're gonna do. Yep. got a lot of things, a lot of flowers that I want to do. I've got a couple small beds and whatnot, and I like having lots of things. I don't really like how pansies look. They always just reminded me of like the Alice in Wonderland. I always think they're really snobby flowers. That might just be me. But I've got some pansies, and pansies are a flower that you can start indoors early, like now, like February in Canada, start early. So we might do that, just for the hell of it, heck of it. Sorry, children, plug your ears. I apologize. What else? We're doing cucumbers because I love to do pickles. I really enjoyed the national pickling variety. I got that in a seed tape. First time using seed tape. Loved it because we had a problem with the birds eating our seeds out of the soil last year, so we were unable to do it with that. Here you go. And I'm going to do the English long forest slicer. I've had a couple different varieties over the years, and I think I'm going to stick with that one. I'm going to do lettuces. I'm going to do a butter crunch and a romaine, and I'm going to succession plant them so that I can cut them and eat them as they come to maturity. So I will always have the availability of a fresh salad or some greens to go on a burger or in a taco. I'm going to do some sweet corn in the backyard garden next door. It's very open. Cut down some trees and whatnot from overhang last year. And that's what we're going to do there. I've done the corn one time before. We had a problem with bunnies and deer, so we really only ended up with 4 cobs of corn that year, and I was so disappointed, but I was also so excited and happy because it was a garden experiment with some of our kids around here, and so it was exciting yet uneventful. It was really, really good. Tasted fantastic for what we got. I've never... Sorry. Next, rutabaga. I got this at the Warkworth Library, the seed box there. Thank you very much for anybody who had donated the rutabagas to the Warkworth Seed Garden, the seed box. I am going to plant those this year. I love rutabagas in stews, and if you mix them with like a honey baby or a butternut squash, it makes a really nice sweet and savory mash type thing. I normally always do beets, but I actually started preserving, and I have enough beets for probably this year coming, so I want to not plant beets this year and be able to give that section of the garden to something else so that I have more variety in what I preserve, so I have more variety. What I've always gone with, though, apparently I really, really like this kind because I've got like 4 packages, 3 of which are open, of the same variety. So the Detroit dark red beet. Okay. They're really, really nice. They roast up fantastically. They hold their shape. They're sweet. That natural sweetness is really fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about these beets. Year over year, fabulous. But in my family, I'm the only one that eats them, now that my nan has passed. So I have enough for a while. I like planting things like beets. I know there's a word for it, but in little groups, so like 3 or 4 seeds per started cell. Like, per one of these things. Oh, there we go. Oh no, they're still not apart. I'm invested now, so I'm gonna pull one of these out. Per one of these, I will have 3 or 4 seeds in there, and I'm not gonna pick them out because as they grow, they will grow up and they turn their foliage outward so that they're not taking up any space or impeding the others from growing. It worked really, really well. I know there's a word for that, but planting in groups. I started doing that after watching Charles Dowding on YouTube do it, and fabulous gardener, by the way. If you don't follow him on YouTube, definitely look it up. Blows my mind. Fantastic. But yeah, love beets. Not planting them this year. I had previously had the back garden next door as just a pumpkin patch type of idea. Cantaloupe, watermelon, squashes, zucchinis, pumpkins. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of that this year, but I think I'm going to grow a little bit more vertically. So I'm gonna put up maybe a cattle panel or some trellising or something, because oh boy, do they sprawl everywhere. And my husband was not really happy when he had to go and cut the grass next door around all of the vegetables. I'm going to be planting some sugar snap peas. Really love peas. They haven't done amazingly in my garden the last couple of years. I think my best year for peas was the very first year I gardened. But I don't remember what variety I planted at that point. So I'm really, really excited. I'm really looking forward to this year's garden season. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not forgetting to tell you guys about anything. I've got a ton of stuff going in. Let me know what you have planned for your garden. Thanks so much for watching along, and I'll see you next time growing up in the garden.